You stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Who's scruffy looking?
Back in November, I was in San Francisco at Fisherman's Wharf, and I was directing a commercial, and I was like super in the zone. I was loving it. It was awesome. But the coolest part is in the pier right next to us, they were filming scenes for Ant-Man and the Wasp. So if you're looking for a film review with a filmmaker talking about how these action films are not true art and they suck, then this is not the channel for you. Just move along. Move along. First, this movie takes place right after Captain America Civil War and even starts with a recap of the first Ant-Man film. So if you haven't seen that for a while, you'll probably be okay. With the first Ant-Man, we tend to think of a couple things: visual effects and humor.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I call an unfortunate casualty in a very serious operation.
So how are they in these movies? Well, the visual effects was stupendous. It was incredible. Top-notch, stunning, especially the scenes in the quantum realm.
You opened up the quantum realm.
There's even a cool water bear scene. Now, if you don't know what water bears are, look them up because they are like the creatures that are going to out-survive us all, and they're incredible. And I've always wanted to do a scene with water bears. And then Peyton Reed comes along and does it first. Alright, now the sequel, just like the first one, is super funny.
Hey, what'd I miss? We were just tiny!
Although, I gotta say, it's not quite as funny because I was expecting it this time. With the first Ant-Man, it just kind of blew me away because it was so unexpected that it was going to be so funny. I mean, the jokes are great. They reoccur very well throughout the entire film, including something having to do with magic.
That's like some David Copperfield shit.
It builds up the entire film. I'm expecting it to pay off in some incredible way, but it doesn't. So I felt like that was a big missed opportunity that they could have taken advantage of and been really, really funny. But they didn't, unfortunately. Then, of course, they have the cliche size matters jokes.
How big did you get?
Which, well, I guess it's a movie about size, but still...
Hiya, champ. How was school today?
Now, in my humble opinion, the best part of this movie, just like the first, was my boy, Luis.
Do you remember? That's us.
He was super funny. He has 3 recaps in this movie like he does in the first one.
And he says, nah, dog. All she said is that it's like super legit.
Including, he gives a great recap of Hope and Scott's relationship and why it is where it is at this point in this film.
Ant-Man and the Wasp teaming up.
Now, the role that I wasn't in love with was Michelle Pfeiffer's. I didn't mind the character, but there was something off about her. Like, almost like she didn't really feel like she belonged in the movie, that the dialogue she was saying, she A, didn't quite believe or didn't even understand. That she was just like, I'm happy to be in a superhero movie again.
I am Catwoman. Hear me roar.
And that leads me to another problem I had with the film. That there are 3 groups of villains in this movie. And it seems to suffer from what I like to call the Spider-Man 3 syndrome. Now, if you recall, with Spider-Man 3, there was Sandman, Green Goblin, and there was Venom. And with 3 villains, it got super confusing, and it was really hard to care about any of them because there were 3 of them, and you couldn't really spend much time with them. And I felt that Ant-Man and the Wasp kind of suffered from the same problem. How it was really hard to get invested in any of the 3 villain storylines, even though they were all kind of interconnected, because there were 3 of them. It's like, you have 2 hours to tell your story and you're splitting it up into 3 villains. And I felt that was a mistake. Especially when the 3rd villain keeps talking about other villains that are trying to get involved into the story and we never find out anything about them. And I know Marvel Cinematic Universe films are based on this, connecting all these villains together, but I really didn't feel it in this one.
I seem to mess it up almost every time.
Now, with that being said, let me step back and say that the mid-credit scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp is quite possibly the greatest mid-credit scene of any Marvel film in the history of all mankind. It blows you away, it makes the movie 10 times better, and it really sets the stage for the massive cliffhanger that it is, and the sequel that is sure to come.
This is awesome.
The end credit scene is like the crappiest thing in the world. It's the exact opposite, and I probably wouldn't even recommend staying for it, to be honest. It's pretty worthless.
I ruined the moment, didn't I?
So do I recommend seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp? You better believe it, baby. Is the action great? Abso-freaking-lutely. Is it the greatest film of all time? Probably not. But you're going to have a great time seeing it. And you're going to leave excited for the next iteration of Marvel movies. Don't do anything I wouldn't do twice. I'll see you next time.